it's that time again. That time where I, Velvet Al, watch a movie so that you don't have to. And I don't really have much intro going on this week. It's hailing, which I don't know when the hell you're going to listen to this, but last week we had like 3 days of it being like 80 degrees, and today it's fucking hailing. Like, that's just the good old weather in Western New York, which has absolutely nothing to do with this week's movie called Deadly Punkettes. And I'm choosing this just because it's on Tubi TV if you want to watch it, but that defeats the purpose of listening to this podcast if you watch it. But in case you want to watch it, as of right now, I'm watching it on Tubi, like pretty much every movie I watch for this podcast. But I chose it because the cover of it is 4 hot chicks dressed as schoolgirls in a band. A punk band, but they have a keyboardist. So, keyboards aren't antithetical to punk. Many good punk bands have had keyboardists. The Clash had a touring keyboardist. And, the Clash does something, then, everything, like, is kind of just shut down. Like, Clash did it, it counts as punk. So, the description for the film, the lead singer of a teenage... Oh, man, they're teenagers. Hopefully, 18-year-old. 18 and 19 is still teens, right? Right? So otherwise, I might have to, not be so lustful about them. But the lead singer of a teenage all-girl punk band dies mysteriously, then returns to haunt the group, their new manager, and her replacement. So I guess maybe the dead singer is assuming that the replacement killed her just to get the gig. Could happen. I'm not 100% ruling out the idea that Brian Johnson gave Bon Scott a lot of drugs in hopes of getting the AC/DC lead singer slot. It's not a very good theory. I'm just saying it is a theory that I'm not going to completely rule out for the sake of humor. Oh, Joey, this is shot on video. There is no good film shot on video. Don't come at me with that Blair Witch Project crap. And I love that film, but that was a bad film. It looks horrid. So anyways, we're starting off, there's this guy who looks like a cross between Gene Wilder, Andy Dick, and Robert Plant. And he's in a postcoital. Is that how it's pronounced? He just fucked this girl, and they're cuddling. But then out pops her boyfriend / husband, I'm not sure. But the father of their kid, apparently. Because he's like, we have a kid together! And he's holding a guitar, and he's with his bandmate who's holding a guitar or a bass. I don't know. They walk in with instruments. So I don't know where this is that she was just fucking this guy, that the band comes in holding their instruments, and they're like, whoa, what's going on here? I can understand, like, if it was just him, and then like, oh yeah, they probably did it in the bedroom, and he's home from a gig, and he's going straight to bed. So, but, I don't know, are they in the garage or something? Like, because there's 2 guys that show up with instruments after a hard night of a gig, I guess. I don't know. And he's, like, mad, and he pulls out a pistol. Is it? It's a 6-shooter. And he's gonna shoot Andy Dick dude, who jumps up. And also in the bed is this guy who kind of looks like a emaciated Elijah Wood. So she was fucking 2 guys, which is all good for her. That's what she wants to do. Go ahead. Just, you're cheating. That is the issue. Not that you're banging 2 guys. It's that you're banging 2 guys behind your main guy's back. And as the Andy Dick dude jumps up, we get a shot of his swinging ball sack. So does that mean this movie passes or fails the Velvet Al test? So we got nudity within the first few minutes, but it's a ball sack. And so I think that kind of cancels out. But there's still time, movie. You can show me some tits, and you will pass the Velvet Owl test. That's how it works. I don't know. Did I amend the Velvet Owl test to be any kind of nudity? I will have to check the playbook. I will have to check the rules. I don't know who I contact. The Motion Picture Association of America? Is that what the other A is? What does the MPAA stand for? I'm sure America is somewhere in that. That's one of the A's. I just wanted to give you a little taste of the opening theme song music. Very catchy, very pop punk. It's kind of Avril Lavigne, she created punk, as we all know. This is actually, I'm recording this, it's the 20th anniversary of her album, Let Go. Or is it Let's Go? Whatever. I'm a poser, punk, because I don't know the actual title of Avril Lavigne's debut album. I am such a poser. But I guess this is kind of mall punk. So that's the theme song. I'm guessing that's the Deadly Punkettes band. I'm not even sure the name of the band is Deadly Punkettes. But until I find out what the real name of their band is, they are the Deadly Punkettes. That was Andy Dick. His name's in the credits. Oh. He looks terrible. But did he ever look good? I imagine they probably were able to hire him for like an 8-ball. Like, hey Andy, you want an 8-ball? Sure, can I show my ball sack on the movie? Sure. I hope that's the end of Andy Dick. Just, I hope there is no further Andy Dick. I don't get Andy Dick. I've never gotten it. Never gotten his appeal. I don't think anyone's got his appeal. I think his whole appeal is the fact that he appeals to no one. So, yeah. Please let that be the only scene of Andy Dick. Because I've already seen more of Andy Dick than I would ever want to see again. Ugh. This movie tricked me into seeing Andy Dick's ballsack. The things I do for you, the listener. That's it. This episode is going to be called Velvet Owl Sees Andy Dick's Ballsack So You Don't Have To. So we've got a group of 4 schoolgirls. The ones that are going to form the band, I'm betting. And they're walking home from school. And they're all upset because, senior year and they want to go to senior dance. But, the boys don't want to go with them. And they're trying to ask the boys from this other school, because they're a Catholic school, so I'm guessing it's all girls school. So they're trying to ask the boys from the all boys school, but unfortunately those boys like big tits, and they're all flat chested. In their words, they're not like well endowed in the chest, but I think they're manageable size. I say whatever God has dealt you in the chest is perfect. So they go home, and the one girl, she's looking around for a dress, and she finds a guitar. And her stepmom, I'm assuming stepmom because she's like almost the same age. Way to go, Dad, who I guess is dead because the guitar belonged to him. And stepmom doesn't want to get rid of it because of sentimental reasons, even though the dad played guitar in a band with this girl's mom. So stepmom, even though, there's would be sentimental value for dad from his first woman, but she kept it because, sentimental. And luckily she did, so the girl decides, well, I'm going to learn to play guitar. And so that night, in her underwear, she takes out the guitar, she takes out a book of learning chords, and she's pretty decent. Better than my first time playing. Hell, better than like my 400th time playing guitar. I mean, she's not great. She's not like shredding or anything, but remember, she's a deadly punkette. And punk rock, you only need 3 chords. And I think that's a gross exaggeration. If you're fucking punk rock, you can get away with 1 chord, because it's all about attitude and sneer. If you just get the sneer right, then everything else falls into place. So she calls one of her friends, who's in the shower. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Fucking shower curtain just in the way. And she's like, oh, can I call you back because I'm in the shower? And like, no, this is too important. Don't hang up on the shower. Just turn the water off. Like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. She turns the shower off, but she stays in the shower behind the shower curtain. Oh, just so close, film. You couldn't give me this to kind of make up for Andy Dick's ballsack? But the girl's like, hey, let's start a band. I have a guitar, and I'm sure you can play bass, because, you know, bass is fucking easy, especially if you're in a punk band. Bass is like the fucking easiest thing, and our other friend can play keyboards, and our other friend, she can play drums, because her brother has a drum set, and he's off at summer camp or something. So, alright, this band idea, it's gonna happen. Let's rock out with our, well, we don't have cocks out, so, fuck, I wish I could remember the name of the band. I think they were called Broadzilla, which had an all-girl band, which had a fucking great tagline, jam out with your clam out. Now, the other girls, they're not so convinced that it's a good idea to start a band, especially because, you know, they've never played before, and what's that? The one girl's already, like, booked them a gig at the school dance in a month? This is crazy! But I think that's the best way to go about it. Book your first gig before you even have your first rehearsal. Because then you're forced to get your shit together and be able to play a song. Just learn one song and play it over and over and over. And, you know, make it Louie Louie. That song's easy. Everyone knows that. Louie Louie. Oh, we gotta go now. Ay, 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 ay. See, right there. You've learned the song. And you can rock out. So they decide, oh, let's do it. And we gotta come up with a name. And so the guitar player and the bass player, they're tanning in their bikinis on the front lawn, which looks like it hasn't been watered in ages. Like, it's not even a nice little green lawn. It's just fucking, like, brown. It's a dead lawn. I don't know, there's been like a heat wave or something. And just, I gotta say, because this thing's shot on video, kind of makes me feel like cringy. Because then you got like it's a video camera on like half naked girls. So it just feels like very perverted, like it's some guy like across the street from his window, like recording these girls sunbathing. It's a little creepy. But they decide on the name the Punkettes. Or the Little Punkettes. Or the something Punkettes. And they're like, whatever. Good enough. Which is always important in the name processing. That at some point you just go, good enough. And that's how you end up with Driving and Crying. I shit you not, kids. Look that one up. There is an actual band called Driving and Crying. And I don't know how or why, like, they ended on that song, on that name. And that definitely had to have been like okay, who cares at this point? They've been brainstorming for like hours, and that was the best they could come up with. And one guy was like, come on, let's spend 5 more minutes. And like, no, we've been here all day. We're going home. Driving and Crying. How do you even come up to that name? Like, that name makes, like, no sense. Hold on, I've got a call from Shanghai, and I think I'm going to record this. Hello?
China Exit Entry Administration. You have a new message.
你好，中国出入境管理局，你有一则新信息，请按9获取详细内容。
Here is China Exit Entry Administration. You have a new message.
你好， 中国出入境管理局，你有一则新信息，请按9获取详细内容。
Okay, I have no idea. If one of my listeners knows Chinese and can tell me what the hell that was about, maybe they were calling to say, hey, stop watching this movie. We're sick of your podcast. Leave the deadly punkettes alone. Where was I? Oh yeah, because I was going on my rant about driving and crying. That's what they called about. They called to tell me stop talking shit about driving and crying. That's all I could figure. That's the only reason I could possibly get a call from Shanghai, was they were upset that I'm talking shit about driving and crying. But like I was saying, like, how do you even come up to that idea of a name? Like, it makes no fucking sense. Like, what, you were crying while you were driving? These are two things you like doing? If you listen to our music, you're gonna want to drive and you're gonna want to cry. I don't get it. So they get ready for their practice, total rock practice, except the one problem: bass player doesn't own a bass. Oh geez. But luckily they know a guy who does own a bass and he's gonna let them borrow it, and he's all condescending, dropping it off like, don't turn the amps up too loud or you're gonna blow them out. Although, I mean, maybe a little condescending, but it is sound advice. You don't want to blow the amps, especially with a bass. You kind of actually melt the amp. Hopefully it's not a tube amp. And, well, he carried like a 15-watt low practice amp. So, really no, it's definitely not a tube amp, so no worries of melting the tubes. But you can still blow the, especially on those tiny little practice amps, you can blow the speakers real easily, so it's sound advice. And he doesn't stick around to watch them play. I guess he just trusts them, like, yeah, go with your bass. And so they practice, they play their crappy little song, and Stepmom's there, and she's like, oh, you guys are pretty awesome. I'm gonna get you a gig at this bar. Sure. This is happening all so quickly for them. Now, I don't know how much longer after this bar gig is, but I gotta say, they actually got pretty good, especially compared to the practice. I'm gonna play a little bit of it, just to kill some time on this podcast. And who knows, maybe this will get me, like, copyrighted striked. Striked is not the right verb. Or past tense. Whatever. Rock out! Of course, what playing that clip doesn't capture is the complete and utter boredom of everyone. Of, like, there's, like, 3 people at the bar, and they're too busy getting drunk, really. But the keyboardist, she's, like, so fucking bored of her mind. At least the bass player and guitarist, like, even though they can't lip-sync the lyrics very well, they're giving it their all. So, they're trying. So after they play their one song, or maybe they had more than one song and we only saw the one song. But anyways, they're done and, they're hanging out and they're only 17, so they can't drink. So they just have waters. The bartender, the bar wench, she's all like, yeah, I ain't fucking getting tipped for this, am I? And this skeezy-looking guy walks up to them, and apparently he's a band manager, or so he claims. He doesn't even have a business card. And some guys over at the next table over, they're like, what kind of manager doesn't have business cards? Ladies, don't trust him. And the girls are like, yeah, this is pretty skeezy, so, we're not going to take any chances. Stranger danger. So the next day, 3 of the girls, I think everyone except the drummer, maybe? I don't know, I can't really tell them apart. I can't tell them apart unless they have instruments in their hands. And they do not have instruments. But I think everyone but the drummer is in bikinis, suntanning on the fucking dead lawn. This really bugs me. I don't know, like, is the idea that they're supposed to be, like, white trash? Or is it just, this is the only person that they could get, like, to lend their house for filming has a dead lawn? It is real. Or is it just, like, was it a massive, like, summer? Like, we've had, like, some droughts, basically, and the lawns are fucking dead as shit, because there's just no rainwater. So maybe it's that. So maybe I'm being a little too harsh on this film, but it really bugs the fuck out of me that they're suntanning on dead lawn. And one of them, she decides to pull her bikini down a little bit so that her ass can get some sun and be tanned. And I'll take a movie. I'll take it. Doesn't fully make up for Andy Dick's nutsack, but it's something. Meanwhile, the drummer lady, she's giving them a call and said, hey, you know, I looked up this guy, and I found him online, and I think he's legit. Sure. He's gonna fucking murder you, lady. He probably, like, went straight home and made up some website to make you think he was legit. But, so he's gonna stop by the practice space. No! Because your practice space is this girl's garage. He's gonna fucking murder you. Remember, that was the description of the film, is that the one girl gets murdered. And she comes back to haunt the rest of them. Video camera goes for, like, some close-ups of her ass, too. Which, again, like, just makes me feel like I'm peeping Tom, like, from next door with his video camera. Which, I used to work at this one place, record theater, and I worked for, I don't know how much I want to go into it, but anyhow, one of the guys who worked there had this guy he knew that he would buy, like, all these collectible stuff off of, but the guy was, like, sick pervert, and after he died, and my boss was going through the stuff, and there's all these VHS tapes that were labeled stuff like woman walking down the street, nice ass. And I never watched them. And that is kind of one of my regrets, because I am curious, which I think literally was just, you know, a woman walking down the street and perhaps had a nice ass. I don't know if I don't know how well of an ass she had. Could have been a very nice ass. Just, like, someone, like, took a video camera and just was videotaping women outside of his window. And keeping it for God knows why. So, but this is how I feel watching this movie, because it's recorded on video camera. And it's going for, like, all these close-up on this girl's ass while she's, like, suntanning. It's kind of creepy. And speaking of creepy guy who claims to be a manager, he shows up. No answer when he knocks on the door, so he goes over to the side where, you know, the girls are sunbathing. And he's like, oh, hey there. And stepmom shows up and hits him with a hose. Well, not with the hose, but she turns the hose on and the water hits him. And like, you perv, you stop peeping. And he's like, no, I'm the manager. And he convinces mom, like, these girls, they've got talent and they're going to be big. As long as I'm the Svengali taking care of them. Not in those words, but you know that he kind of is going to craft their image. He is crafting their image because he brought all these clothes from his ex-girlfriend, saying, you should wear clothes like this. And then the drummer shows up, and she's still in her schoolgirl outfit, and the manager's like, whoa, that's the look. Like, this is just our uniform. You all wear this, ladies? This is the look. Because, you know, there can't possibly be like 500 bands out there where the girls are dressed like schoolgirls. That's completely, it's groundbreaking. And I'm kind of stalling because I will Google it. Because I know there's got to be bands, and I can't think of any. But there's AC/DC has a school boy lead guitarist, so Hell's Bells maybe has a schoolgirl lead guitarist, the AC/DC cover band that's all women. So he's booked them some studio time, and I'm not like 100% sure on the timeline here, because he's like, oh, I want to hear the fire you had last night. So does that mean like this is the day after their gig at the nightclub and they're already in the studio? Like, wow, this is just moving too fast. Did you girls even have a chance to read the contract? This is probably a very bad contract, and he probably now owns your souls and shit. Ladies, you've made a huge mistake. You gotta get out of there now. But and he's changing their sound, because now they're all like auto-tuned vocals, and it's horrible. I liked the old stuff better. I'm that fucking hipster. I'm like, I liked their early stuff, when they were still just jamming in the garage before they had their one gig and are suddenly in the studio. But there seems to be some dissension in the group, because one of them, and again, I can't tell. All I know, the drummer is a brunette and the other three are blondes, and I can't tell any of the blondes apart. So, but one of the blondies, she's off in the corner writing her own song, because she's not too into the rest of them. So I think she's the keyboardist, because she looked really super bored during their gig. So, and then suddenly it's the next day, and the bass player is walking home. And I only know it's the bass player because later she shows up and meets up with the rest of the band already practicing. So no one's on bass. Therefore, she turns out to be the bass player. And she's walking home because the rest of them, they left early so that they could go and rehearse for a music video. They're already making a music video? Ladies, did you read the contract? This is all coming out of... This is in advance. It's coming out of your contract. The records you sell, you are not seeing any money until you pay back the studio time and the music video. You should read up on how these contracts work. You girls are getting so fucked over in this contract, I'm pretty sure. But while she's walking home by herself, the bass player that is, this other girl from the school comes up and like, oh, I heard you were in a band. Can I photograph the band? Because I'm an awesome photographer. Or even just photographs of you. Oh boy. She's got her first stalker. And it wasn't the creepy guy. But creepy women can be stalkers too. And so while she's walking home away from crazy photographer girl, a car pulls up. And this lady says, you want to ride? And at first, the bass player's like, you're a stranger. I'm not getting in the car with you. What the fuck? But then she's like, it could help your career. Actually, no, I don't even know what the fuck this lady said that got the bass player to go in the car. She's just like, oh, I live here. I'm just trying to do a good deed. And she goes for it. That is what serial killers do. It's what they say. They're like, oh, I'm just doing a good deed. I'm just going to give you a ride home. And they never get home. They never get home! But luckily, it wasn't a serial killer. But it was a big-time producer who's worked with Travis Barker. From Blink-182, if you don't know who Travis Barker is. So, this lady is legit. I mean, I hope that, you at least asked her, like, oh, can I see a photo of you hanging out with Travis Barker so I know you're legit and not just lying? Because I could do that. I could just drive up and just go to a random person. Hey, I'm going to give you a ride home. It's my good deed. By the way, I work with Travis Barker. And it would be a complete lie. Because A, I don't know Travis Barker. B, I would never do a good deed. And that's the new sound of the band, who apparently they're now called Adore Us. Oh boy. I hate this band. What happened to the band that had that one song playing in the bar? I liked that band. Now they've fucking sold out and are all teeny bopper. And they're recording their video in front of a green screen, so I can't wait to see the final product. I'm hoping there is like some cool like special effects or something. Or maybe they could only afford to rent a green screen studio and we're like, fuck it. We'll record that. We don't actually have any money in the budget for the effects. So you're just in front of a green screen. That'd actually be a kind of cool video. Bands out there, do that. Someone make a video where you're just in front of a green screen, but you don't actually like replace the green screen with anything. You're just in front of a green screen. I'm gonna do that. How much does it cost to get a green screen? I guess I probably could just get like a large piece of green fabric and just hang it up behind me. So the next gay. The next gay. I don't know why I'm singing that, because I was gonna try to go into some joke about the next gay, but I couldn't think of one. And I could just, restart and edit this, but I'm not going to, because the next day, the schoolgirls are walking home, and they're assaulted by their little, groupie, obsessive fan girl, who's kind of looks like, and sounds like Esther Pavitsky, the comedian, if you know her, from the show Alone Together, which was funnier than it has any right to be, seriously. Check out that show. Watch that show instead of watching this movie. That's what this podcast is about, isn't it? It's about me just recommending other things to watch. Because that's the whole point, is that I'm watching this so you don't have to. Anyways, little stalker girl, she's like, oh my god, your video is up on the internet and it's got 5 billion views, or not quite 5 billion, but some huge number. And they're all excited, like, whoa, he didn't even show us the video. I hope we look cool, because they gotta look cool, right? Because if it's, so fucking viral, and it's not cool. Not cool whatsoever. I mean, I think the girls like it, but it looks like one of those, do they still have them? I can't think of what they're called, but you go in and you, make your own music video, and it's like you're in front of a green screen, and they just kind of throw some random imagery behind you while you lip sync to some song. And that's kind of what it is. Like, they're playing, and the camera's just kind of doing wacky moves while background's just color changing, and then some random shot of some guy. I don't know who this guy is, but he's got a banana on his shirt. So he's cool, because he has a banana on his shirt. And I think, it's not the girls that made this video go viral. It is that guy in the banana shirt. So the bass player, she wants to talk about, this lady producer that she saw the other day. And, we should talk to her. And then everyone's like, can you really trust her? I don't know, you guys trusted this creepy guy claiming to be a manager who didn't have a business card. So are you really in a position to be like, but can we trust this person? You've already took although I guess, what are the odds that there's going to be 2 random strangers that turn out to be legitimate music people and not complete psychopaths that are going to chop your head off and come down your gullet. I don't even know if a gullet's part of the right anatomy there. Whatever. Just go with it. It sounds good. But, sleazy manager, who's now looking like the Amazing Jonathan, because he's got this headband thing going on, and I think I would rather have the Amazing Jonathan manage me. Even though he's dead now, but still, even while dead. But they got practice, because they got booked for more studio time for a music video. Because the guy who made the first music video, he loved that it went viral, so he wants to give them free time. They just got to put, like, the logo of the studio on. Like, okay. So they're practicing the song, and it sounds like they're getting back to their roots. And I'm going to credit it to the fact that the keyboardist is wearing a Sex Pistols shirt. And I think that's brought them back to what punk is really about. And, yeah. Well, this song is punkier than the other one that they were doing. I like this one better. Keep on this direction, ladies. Keep on like this, instead of that weird auto-tune pop crap you were doing. The little stalker girl is there, taking pictures, and they get kind of tired of her, so they're like, hey, how about you take pictures during our music video shoot? We'll text you the address later. Yeah, no, go, you can leave. They're not gonna text her the address. But after she leaves, here shows up the woman that says she's a music producer. But before she goes in, she's talking on the phone to someone and tells them it's the perfect project for their singing career. Dissension is afoot. They're gonna get rid of the singer, and you know, sometimes it happens. You have to replace your singer if you want to become huge. So she comes in and talks to them and blah 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 and blah blah blah. Because I don't even care what she's saying. But she's talking about how, you know, punk is dead, so they're going to have to go pop, and they're going to have to, you know, kind of change up their music. Did you not listen to the music video? They fucking changed their music. They're trying to change back to punk, but the fucking other managers already turned them into a pop band. But I guess this is probably the most realistic part, is that this, like, lady thinks what they're playing is punk. Yeah. Not quite. It's mall punk. It's kind of fun. When they're not, like, over poppy, I kind of have been digging the music a little. But no, she's gonna ruin them, even though the other guy already ruined them. And she's pretty much just decided that she's their manager now. And so they're off to make the new music video. Now, the new music video is pretty much the exact same as the old music video. Just this time the colors are kind of different. And it doesn't have a picture of the guy with a banana on his shirt. So I don't think this one's going to go as viral. Let's face it, ladies, the banana shirt is the true hit. And the guy manager walks in. Oh, and by the way, the stalker girl is running around taking pictures. In the video, no one stops her and say, like, hey, don't do that. Can you just stay off to the side and not be in the video? But I'm still surprised even that they gave her the actual address. I thought they were just gonna fucking ghost her and shit, but no, they actually did let her come down to the studio to take pictures of them making this video. And then the guy manager walks in, and he's like, whoa, what's going on? You told me you were sick. Which, did he think all of them were sick or just the one? Because he came down, so he must have been expecting something. So he thought the bass player was sick because she lied to him because she wanted to, you know, go and meet with the other producer. So was he going to do the video without her? Or did he think they were all sick? At which point, why was he coming down to the studio? No, none of this adds up. But he's upset because, you know, the lady producer, she's coming. She's like, I'm their manager now because you can't do shit with them. You're just a tour bus driver. He's a tour bus driver with dreams. He thought he was gonna make it. But it's a story as old as time itself. Band starts getting big, and they just get rid of all the people that were there at the beginning helping them. They just step on the little people on the way up the ladder. And he's all like, "You're gonna realize you made a mistake." Outside the studio, the bass player is smoking, and little stalker girl comes up to her and like, "Oh, the photographs were great," and blah, 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 blah. She's obsessed, but it's not the band entirely. It's just specifically the bass player, because she's like, "I would do anything to be with you. I mean, to be like you." And bass player's like, "You're not ugly. You just need a makeover. Oh, by the way, stop dressing like me." Which, here's the thing. The band, they've just been wearing their school uniforms. Does that mean that Stalker Girl isn't in the school? I just assumed she was another girl from the school. So, if she's dressing like the band, it's because they're all wearing the school uniform. Does it just mean like, okay, outside of school hours, don't wear it because it's creepy? Because during school, she's going to have to wear that outfit. Unless she doesn't go to school, in which case, then it is kind of creepier. That she just, I don't know. But unfortunately, no one can give bass player a ride except for creepy stalker girl. And on the ride, this song plays. I don't know why I've been subjecting you to the soundtrack of this film so much, but it will probably continue. So they get home, and, Stalker Girl and bass player are talking a little bit, because bass player's just trying to make nice, and like, we don't mean to make fun of you, but you are a tad little creepy. She's like, "That's okay. Hey, can you write a song about me?" And she starts caressing bass player's hair. And the bass player's like, "Oh, I like to write songs about things that inspire people, like cars and shopping." Sure, I guess that inspires some people. Tiffany was one of the most inspirational performers of our generation, because she sang about shopping. And then, where was I going with this? So I started thinking about Tiffany, and I had a crush on her when I was a kid. I won't lie. We all did. Everyone of my generation, both boy and girl, had a crush on Tiffany. Okay? Don't judge me. Anyhow, little stalker girl just makes her move and kisses bass player. And she's like, "That's inspiration for your song." And bass player just kind of hightails out of it, like, "Hey, I'm not a lesbian, no." Meanwhile, drummer is going to sleep over at guitar player's house, and guitar player takes off her clothes to change into her pajamas, and we get some gratuitous titty shots. And, okay, film, took you a while, but that makes up for the Andy Dick nutsack at the beginning of the film. I will allow it. I forgive you. So what yeah, gratuitous titty shot. I forget what else happened in the scene. Just boobs. Then the guitarist has this weird psychedelic dream. She must be like tripping balls or something. This guy like kind of like that washed out like 60s art film type vibe, and she's in a nightie and playing hopscotch and jump rope with the drummer, who's in a white dress with a flower headdress, and I don't know what's going on. And then there's random shots of this woman scientist looking underneath a microscope. I don't know. Was her drink spiked or something? What the fuck is this tripping balls dream? And it doesn't even, like, I mean, there's the transition into the dream that you know it's a dream, but there's no real transition out. So I was thinking that the dream was still going on with all these shots of Hollywood, and then the ex-manager guy, he's at a strip club getting drunk while a stripper is sort of stripping, but not actually, getting past her underwear. It's one of those strip clubs. And then the girls are recording yet another green screen music video. Come on, you gotta switch it up. Even OK Go, all they ever had was, music videos. That's all they were. Their music was horrible, but, they had those clever videos that went viral, and people were like, hey, this band, you gotta check it out. Crazy videos. Good thing that you make, a penny for each, 100 views on YouTube, because no one was buying that album. OK Go sucks. But the point is, they have their viral videos, but they switched it up. They kept trying to do different things to make themselves go viral. These girls are just doing the same fucking green screen video. You'd think if they had become a hit by now, they could get, budget for a real music video. Why are they still going to this, make your own video studio? The next morning, or some morning, I don't know which morning, but it's a morning, and stepmom comes to tell guitar player, oh, bad news, there was an accident, and the bass player, she's now dead. They don't really specify what happened, but it sounds like there's some foul play, because, there's talk of, if we could only find out who did it and get the bastard. So, I don't know. I mean, it could just be, a drunk driver accident or something, or it could be murder. I don't know, but she's dead. And so, they need to raise money for the funeral, so they have a lemonade stand. The guitar player and I think the drummer, they've got a lemonade stand. 50 cents for a cup of lemonade. Yeah, I'm sure this is going to raise enough money to cover the funeral. I don't know, was GoFundMe not a thing yet? No, I'm pretty sure it was at this point. At least Kickstarter. Come on, something. There had to have been a better way, sell her used underwear. You sell that overseas to Japan. That's going to pay your funeral costs. But the manager, the girl manager, she comes by and, she offers condolences. But, if you got some gigs coming up, paid gigs. So I've got someone who can replace her. Oh, that's convenient. And then the manager takes a cup of lemonade and doesn't pay the 50 cents. That fucking bitch. She can't help pay for the funeral costs, but I guess she did already get a replacement, so cut her some slack, right? Now the guitar player is sleeping and a music box is playing. Do 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 do. I think it's the Nutcracker song. I'm not sure. But then the drummer, wearing a white dress, comes in and she grabs the guitarist. And the guitarist is still asleep. And they start dancing to the music box music. And it all feels weird and surreal. And is this really going on? And the camera pans over to the mirror and, whoa, wait a minute. The guitar player, she's dancing by herself. Oh no, the drummer's not really there. Must just be all this weird dream. And then the dancing stops. And then the drummer is looking into a mirror and smiling weirdly. And then we get a negative flash. And I don't know what any of this means. I hope it pays off. Is the drummer some weird, crazy dream chick? Maybe she's the one that's dead. Maybe the guitarist is dead all along. And I like to picture that. I like to imagine, movies that I just pick some random character and just imagine they've been dead the whole time, and the whole movie is just kind of the last minutes of their life, just flashing this entire fantasy sequence. And I think it's the boy in the banana shirt. It's his nightmares. He's the one dying. Bring back the boy in the banana shirt. Now, the girls are at the studio, and the manager comes, and she's already got the replacement. And she's like, oh, right. And she's already got a song, so she's going to go and she's going to record it. and we'll be ready for the show tomorrow. Man, they are not wasting any time. They're just like getting straight into it, the nitty gritty. Cause you ain't got time to stop. Money, 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 money. Yeah, I don't know. But guitar player and drummer, they're like, we need to take a break. So they go out to smoke. And guitar player's like, I had the weirdest dream. I was dancing with our dead bass player, but it wasn't really the bass. It wasn't really her. It was you, but it was her inside of you. And like, whoa. And then this homeless lady just comes up out of nowhere. And, I mean, she's probably in her 20s. So just don't picture like old crazy homeless lady. It's a young crazy homeless lady. She's like, sounds like you've been visited by a ghost. Ooh. And then she just goes back to her shopping cart. Meanwhile, crazy stalker girl shows up and she's like, I want to still take pictures. I was a fan of all of you, not just the bass player. And the drummer's like, you gotta chill because you're crazy and no one liked you, not even the bass player. And you just freak everyone out. And he's like, can I just take one last picture? Like, okay. And she goes to take the picture. But then the bass player's standing there next to them. And she's like, oh no! The crazy stalker girl. And she thinks she's going crazy because the ghost has appeared. Ooh. And her camera breaks. It's the day of their big show. Getting to open for the wheelchairs. At least I think they're the openers. Maybe the wheelchairs are the openers. I don't know. Have we gotten this far ahead in their career that they're headlining? I don't think so. Like, that'd be too much of a stretch even for this film. So I'm thinking they're opening, even though they got interviewed by some like Access Hollywood type show, which I don't know, is kind of weird because the guy has like a microphone that has like the name of his show on, but he doesn't have a cameraman. He has a guy with a camcorder. And I don't know, maybe that's how they film these type of shows now. They've decided that the big bulky cameras are too much and everything gets filmed on camcorder. I don't know. I don't know how Access Hollywood does it these days. So, but the girls are getting ready and the new girl, she's tuning her bass because they're all like crowded into one room. So yeah, I guess they are the openers because they don't get like their own dressing room. They're all just like crowded into one room. And since the new girl has to, actually learn to play the bass, which apparently they haven't bothered to, like, practice to learn how to do the songs, I guess. So she's trying to play the bass, but the tuning pegs are turning themselves. Ooh. They don't know why. But we know why, because we can see the ghost of the dead girl. She's turning the pegs. And she keeps turning them so tight that the string snaps. Which, if you've ever played a bass, like, you have to really, like, tighten those strings way much for them to snap, because they are fucking thick as hell. Guitar string, they snap, like, all the time. You just look at a guitar funny and the strings will snap. But the bass string snaps, and it hits one of the other girls right in the eye. I want to say it was the guitar player, but it might have been the keyboardist. They look so much alike. I only know the drummer because she's a brunette, and everyone else was a blonde. And the new girl's a brunette too, so now I can't really tell the difference between her and the drummer, except that, she had the bass, so I knew she was the new girl. Really, when these girls don't have their instruments, I don't really know who's who. So it was either the guitarist or the keyboardist got smacked in the eye with the bass string and has lost an eye, and the lady that came to tell him, like, oh, you're on in 20 minutes. Oh, cool, you've got theatrics too. So I don't know if they went ahead and played the show. Or, I mean, I guess you don't need to play the show. Like, right there, that's like a fucking, like, rock story. That gets you pressed right there. Like, we're about to open up for the wheelchairs, but our guitar player lost an eye. Whoa, what kind of crazy shit goes on with this band? So the manager is now talking to this old Haggerty lady who thinks she's, like, still hot. Like, one of those, like, 40-year-olds who think they're, like, 20 and try to be 20. because they think it'll be hot to be 20, instead of just being like, you know what, I can be hot because I'm 40. She might be 60, actually. Still trying to be 20. I don't know. Ladies, whatever your age, you're sexy. Just be your age. Like, and that's not to say, like, you can't wear sexy things in your 60s and saying, like, oh, well, you gotta be all stuffy and dressed like a 60-year-old, but, you know, own the fact that you're 60. Be like, yeah, I am fucking piece of ass at 60. This lady, she doesn't quite own it. And I don't know, I think she might be the head of a record label or something, and they're talking, and I guess it was the guitarist who got her eye poked out. And so that means they're going to have to miss Denmark. And the older lady's like, well, why not just put an eye patch on her so you can continue the tour? Which, okay, yeah, do the eye patch instead of waiting for a glass eye. It could be something. I don't know if, like, your whole image is, like, sexy schoolgirl. Do you then just toss in a pirate? I mean, there's ways to make it sexy. You can make an eye patch sexy. So they could try that, but unfortunately, because I think, like, she's the record lady, the record label lady, she's not gonna sign the band because she knows the truth. The bass player / singer isn't the real bass player / singer. It's the manager's girlfriend. Which, I don't know, were they trying to, like, pull a fast one and pretend that the new was this like a Beatles type situation where Paul died and they're like, oh, we can't tell anyone that Paul McCartney died. Let's get a double. Because, it's not like this band was famous. Like, yeah, they had that viral video, but were they worried that, you know, to let the fans know, like, oh, this girl's died, and we're replacing her? And the fans would be like, boo! We won't stand for that. You know, what the hell? I mean, did you see AC/DC try to pretend that Brian Johnson was Bon Scott? No, I think not. Because they knew their fans would be like, well, this band still fucking kicks ass. So we don't have to pretend that it's still Bon Scott. We know it's someone else, but you guys are rocking out. Apparently they were trying to pull a fast one on people, but not good enough for this record label lady, because she can tell the sound of the voice. Sure. Still, I don't get why not just... Bands replace members all the time, and they replace dead members all the time. Why was this such a... Why are you trying to pull a fast one on people? I don't know. It's just... But the guitarist, she's at home in her bed with an eye patch, and then Crazy Stalker Girl shows up, and she's got a butterfly knife that she gives us a present. And Guitar Girl takes the butterfly knife and stabs the Stalker Girl over and over and over. You're like, you're a murderer! It was just a dream. Just a dream. Just a dream. And now she's in her bed. I'm not sure if she's in a bedroom or in a hospital room. No, it looks too girly, frilly to be a hospital. I don't know why I'm thinking hospital, but she's there. She doesn't have an eye patch. She has, like, cloth bandages around her eye. So I guess she's still in the healing stage. And the other girls, well, the actual friends, the drummer and the keyboardist, are like, blah, blah. What did they say? No, they said something more important than just blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. The autopsy report is back. Which... What autopsy report? That girl's not dead, remember? She's... Woo! You know, the fans are going to get that autopsy report. Why are you pretending that she's not dead? And that this other person is her? I understand the girls. It's not their fault. They have to do what the manager says. But... So the autopsy report is in, and she had a lot of drugs in her system. It's weird, because she never does drugs. And so but the autopsy report, it doesn't say she OD'd. She died from trauma. And I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. So they had... Because before they were saying accident, and then the one girl was like, I want to find who did this. And now it was OD. Which I guess, like, if you OD, like, yeah, you... But, like, how does that come as a surprise? Like, what did they think before that she died of? I was thinking, like, maybe, like, oh, you know, car accident, still, like, then, yeah, okay. So they're saying she had drugs in her system, and she was the fucked up driver, and she crashed. Okay. I thought that's where they were going with this, but I don't know. I don't know how she died. She died, and there was drugs. And I'm guessing that, you know, either she was given drugs by someone, manager lady, trying to kill and get her girlfriend into the band, or crazy stalker girl. But, you know, that wouldn't make sense. Crazy stalker girl loved her. Why would she kill her? I don't know. Stalkers are crazy. But yeah, I'm guessing someone killed her with drugs. When, really, you should kill them with kindness. So the manager's in her room with her girlfriend, the new girl in the band. And they're talking about the deal, and like, okay, the deal didn't quite work out, but don't worry. We've got another deal. Working on it. We've got grand plans. All right. You go take a bath. So new girl, she like goes and gets in the bath and getting ready for sexy bath time. But the ghost of the dead girl is there, and she grabs the CD player, and while it's still plugged in, oh no! She throws it in the bath, and like the epileptic shakes, and oh, the new girl is now dead. But while she was shaking, her boobs were also shaking out of the water. So, deaf boobs are always good. Getting to see boobs when a character is dying, it's tragic, but it doesn't kill my boner. Oh, don't judge me. You know you're the same. You're not better than me. And so the manager girl then comes in and she's like, oh no, you're dead! And she pulls the radio out without unplugging it. So I don't know, wouldn't it still like kill you? Wouldn't it still like electrocute you or at least shock you if it's still plugged in and it's in the water and you're grabbing it out of the water? Yeah, I don't know. Is it even still like, is it still something that does happen? Like, don't modern CD players, like, haven't they made them waterproof exactly for this reason? I don't know. Let me go try it. No, I am not going to try going into the bath with a CD player. Although I once had a physics teacher tell me that if you're in a bathtub full of pure water and you held a radio that was plugged in, nothing would happen to you. It is because there's like metal particles in the water, and that is what the electricity is like interacting with, and that's what causes electric shock, and that's what kills you. But if you're in pure water, which you almost certainly will not ever be in, you'll be safe. Now we see the drummer, and I think she's in the guitar player's room, because there's a guitar in the corner, and some of the posters I think were from the guitar player earlier. But anyways, the drummer, she's got a gun and she's loading up bullets and she's getting ready to blow her brains out when the guitarist or the keyboardist, I don't know, the one that still has both of her eyes now, I really wish they did anything to make these girls stand apart. Like, at least the drummer had brunette hair, so I know who she is. The rest of them were blonde, and I can't tell apart, except at least I know the bass player's dead. So when I see her, she's kind of ghostly, so I know she's dead. So, whichever girl has both of her eyes comes in and tries to stop her, and the drummer's like, it's my fault, because that last night, we were hanging out and we started popping pills, and she had a seizure, and I thought she was dead. And I didn't want everyone to think that she was some druggie who OD'd, so I pushed her down the stairs. Which, unfortunately, as the autopsy reported, she didn't die of the OD. She died of the trauma. So, the drummer killed her. And she's ready to blow her brains out, but then the girl with both eyes is, like, tussling with her, and they're trying to fight over the gun, and then the gun goes off! And it just shoots a hole in the ceiling. So, but it's okay. It's okay. She won't reveal the secret. Of course, now they're going to have to explain why there's a hole in the ceiling. But, we'll deal with that when it comes to, right? Now, it's open mic night at the bar. And the girl that still has both her eyes, she's there because she's working on her solo career now. The band has just gone their separate ways. Although the old dude who was their manager for a while, he's there and he's like, if you guys ever get back together, we'll let bygones be bygones and I'll be your manager again. And she's like, thanks but no thanks. And she goes to perform and she dedicates the song to her dead friend. And everyone's moved. And then, I don't know if it's the next band taking place or just kind of randomly switches to this band playing. And I think it's like the same punk. It's the drummer and the keyboardist. And the keyboardist is the one that has the eye patch now. So this must be modern times. And I guess they got like a new guitarist and new bassist to do the songs. Or I can't tell. Because again, these girls are so nondescript. I don't know if they got like new players. Especially because the other girl who's now solo was saying that the other two went their separate ways. So they joined back together? I guess. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what the fuck I watched. And so this other band plays during the credits, and then just kind of at the end, we see the record label lady, and she's calling her assistant, asking where's her water. She's got a meeting. And for some reason, on her desk, there's like a tape that's labeled G.G. Allen. Now, I don't think she has a meeting with G.G. Allen, because he would be dead. Dead. Maybe he's not dead. Maybe that's what this movie's about. I don't know. I just don't know what the fuck I watched. I don't know what this movie was about. It's like, starts off like the rise of a girl band that just randomly features murder and then a ghost possession and then just kind of ends. No one's brought to justice. No one knows anything. Just some people are dead. One girl has a missing eye, and I lost like an hour and a half of my life that I will never get back. And not only did I just lose an hour and a half of my life, 5 of those seconds were spent seeing Andy Dick's Nutsack. And I guess there's just some things you can't really forgive in life. And seeing Andy Dick's Nutsack is one of them. So that was another movie I watched so you don't have to. And a Nutsack that I saw that you don't have to. So, yeah. You know the drill. If you don't know the drill, you can email me at velvetal@hotmail.com. Or you can leave a comment if you're on the page where you can leave a comment. You can do either. One of these days someone will do one of them. But peace and love, and please, for the love of God, keep Andy Dick's Nutsack in a safe space. I love you. And I want to thank the Living Brain Dead for providing the official theme song for Velvet Owl Watches Movies So You Don't Have To. It's called Never Fuck With Catgirls, and you can get it at livingbraindead.com, which you should totally do. They are not paying me for this, so I shilled them out of my love for the music.